Hey guys, how you doing? I just wanted to come back with you at this time. It's now August 2020. We've been in COVID for about, what's that, 5 months, 6 or 7 months up to the run up in it in January and February. But I wanted to come back to you to give you a little update on what's happening in the real estate market. So just I'm going to share my screen here with you, and bang, there we go. COVID real estate update. As we were doing this, I did my first one right after everything was shutting down the schools. I had some charts for there. So just for those who are checking in that may not be from the area that I serve, which is Northern Virginia, DC, and Maryland, I was kind of like, what do I call this? Okay, so is it the COVID real estate market? I do want to point out it's as of August 2020. So if you're looking at this next year, this is probably pretty old information. Then remember, this is actually Northern Virginia. So the COVID Northern Virginia real estate update as of August, maybe Northern Virginia real estate COVID update, because that would probably get some good search engines there. Real estate update COVID, I don't know. So came up with the Northern Virginia COVID real estate update as of August. Now, before I go too deep into what's happening lately, I wanted to show you what was happening and what we've come from. And this is was watching the listings coming in to the market in Northern Virginia, which is Fairfax, Arlington, Alexandria counties and cities in that area right next to Washington, D.C., where all the fun is happening. That the new listings that were coming on kind of help start you understand what dictates what's happening with the market. So as you can see here, the yellow is when the highest level that listings come on board every single week. But what happened in March is usually they just keep on going up. You can see my mouse here. They keep going up, but they didn't this year. School was canceled for us around the 15th of March, and then bang, the listings also started dropping. So this is March 2020. Contracts were also starting to level off, which is showing you the immediate effect on the market when people were no longer going out because the kids were now home. They all were wondering, what are we going to do now? And what should we be doing as far as buying a home? So I was thinking that a buyer market mentality was about to hit our area. Keeping in mind that Northern Virginia, we're in the shadow of the White House and Pentagon and all that, we have a very robust market. Usually when the nation is going downward, we're still in there going after because we are operating off of kind of the government influence on our marketplace. So then in April, what I did when I looked at the numbers is that the market was shrinking. It didn't tank, it just shrank. And so that's kind of what we saw that was happening as far as our market in the Northern Virginia area. Again, this was then in May, and then it's still hot. We still had a 1-month supply of properties. Keep in mind, a seller's market begins after a 3-month supply and then below. And what that means is if you have 100 houses and you sell 100 houses in 30 days, or they go under contract in 30 days, you have a 1-month supply. A 3-month supply would mean that you've got 100 houses and 33 of them go under contract in 30 days, etc. A normal market is actually 4 to 5 months. So if you had 100 houses, 20 to 25 of them would go under contract, and therefore you would have a normal market in the area. The thing is we have not had a normal market for years in Northern Virginia. Even before the ramp up in the early 2000s, we had a shortness during the foreclosure when they were trying to figure out what to do. But once they figured it out in 2008, bang, we went right back to a 2-month supply. And we've been in that 1 to 2 month supply ever since. We usually have a little seasonal time we show slow down, but that did not happen here. This is the month after we were shut down, and we were still only a 1-month supply. So more homes were going under contract than were being listed. That's what a 1-month supply means. And that does create a seller's market. But some folks were still treating it like a buyer's market. They were actually letting their houses go for a little bit less than asking price. They were giving up some buyer subsidy. But now that's kind of disappeared. And again, this was in May 2020. So now, come up in August, when we get our numbers that come out, they're about 6 weeks lagging. We saw the listings being taken here. You can see that in January, we were ahead. We're the light colored amber colors for 2020. And so you saw that we were ahead in January and February. March, we started going down on the number of listings coming on the market in March. And then April, you saw a significant drop in the market as far as the number of homes coming on the market. May, another substantial drop in the average number of homes coming on the market in Northern Virginia. But then June, we started coming back to the levels we were at last year. We're still behind as far as the number of listings coming on the market and where we should be to have enough for the buyers in the area, but that's what was going on. Then this is what really told the market that we were in what I would call the beginning stages of recovery. In June, our number of homes that, oops, let me go back here. In June, the number of homes that went under contract outpaced the number of homes that were under contract a year before. You could see that in February, we were leading last year, 1754 over 1582. March, April, May, we were lagging. A lot of contracts were not written. Some of this was because buyers might have been taking a little bit of step back, but the interest rates came down so low that they just felt like they couldn't. The other piece of it is when you have 1,000 less homes to sell, you're going to have 1,000 less contracts that happen. So this is not a surprise to those that are watching the data. The media will always get hyped. The market's down. No one's writing. No one's selling. Well, the market wasn't down. It just shrank. You know, selling 1,600 houses to 2,000 houses per month is still a pretty robust market. So wasn't really worried about what was happening once we saw May numbers come out. So the question here is, what were the forecasts and how did COVID alter it? That's really what this video is about and what I want to talk to you about. So this is from the group called The Balance, who measures economic forecasts. And I wanted to go back and show you, this is 18, 19, 20. 18 is that greenish color, yellow is the 2019, and what their forecast was for 2020. So I thought it'd be cool to have a little throwback here to take a look at what's going on and what they were looking at as far as how the economy was going to be going. So back in 18, they said, okay, the U.S. gross domestic product would be about 2% by now in 2020. So here's what's really happening. And this is from the International Monetary Fund. So we're going back to 2009 here in the U.S., and we were at minus 2.54, which was the last time when they were measuring that we had a shrinkage in our market, which was the tail end of the recession that we were having in 2009. Then you saw we had a consistent 2 to 3% gross domestic product. Now here's what 2020 is doing. We're almost down 6% when this came out. And so looking that we'll have an increase next year of 4.74%, which is really a recovery of the big drop that we had in 2020. So that's what they were forecasting in gross domestic product. The unemployment rate, the forecast was that by the time we got to the end of 2020, we will have had nationwide a 3.6 unemployment rate. Wow, this is the big story right now, isn't it? So from last July nationally, last July unemployment was 3.7. And then here we are in April, May, and June. These bars are April, May, and June. We capped out at 14.7 in April, came down to 13.3 in May. June was 11.1, which is the latest numbers that we have. The July numbers that I did get a peek at we're actually down to 10.2%. So the real question on this one is not that it's 10%, but then on a normal employment factor where you're at about 3.5%, we're really another 6.5% above that. Okay, so that's kind of where we are with the unemployment nationally. The next thing was, how is inflation going to be by now? With a low unemployment, a high employment, and a good gross domestic product and manufacturing, your inflation is going to start moving up. People are buying products, there's not as much there, so you are going to have a little bit of increase in inflation. Wow, look what's happened since last July. I'll let you absorb that one a little bit. You want to buy something and you got the money and the wherewithal to do it, the inflation has almost gone to zero. In April, May, and June, you're down to a 0.3, a 0.1, a 0.6 in June, And so the inflation really kind of just came to a halt when everything else was slowing down as well. And the gasoline prices were still coming down. I got some gas the other day for $1.90 a gallon. Cheapest I saw was a couple of counties below here, and I saw it for $1.79. Say hello, 1980, right? And then the final piece here is U.S. manufacturing. We were supposed to be at about 2% for the year of 2020, and look what happened since COVID. We went from minus 0.3 to a minus 19.7%, and now it's starting to creep back up as people are getting back to work and people are starting to buy goods again and understanding the new reality. And we see a lot of new products, don't we? I never thought I would be price shopping for masks and hand sanitizers, but that's kind of what's leading the way back to recovery. Nationally, this is the unemployment claims. And so obviously we had a huge unemployment claim. This is measuring in the millions nationally at 6.87 million people. And this is with 1 week. This is another week. So that's another 6.6 million on top of the 6.8 million on top of that. But the good news was that as we went along May and June, it started coming down. And then I do have some Virginia numbers, and that's where these are coming from, is a Virginia Employment Commission, showing what was happening locally. We're having a little bit of an uptick here in June, the weeks in July, 4th of July week. So I haven't heard anything from the state on why we're having a little bit of an increase for ourselves. It might be that they're finally just catching up with the number crunching, because even some of these offices were closed as far as that was concerned. And then unemployment in Virginia, which is what it's about. Remember, real estate is all about being local. It's local. Don't make a local decision based on national information. I just want you to remember that. So locally, what's going on? Back in February in Virginia, the blue bar, we were at 2.6. Then in March, it went to 3.3, and then we tapped out at 10.6 in April for Virginia. Currently in Virginia, we are at 8.4. Before all this fallout happened, we were at about 3.4. So we've gone up about 5 percentage points. The way I look at this, 91.6% of the people are still employed. And when you look at that, a lot of our people in the DC area are IT, they are in government, and they can do everything that they're doing on their computers at home. They can work in a secure environment. In some of the outlying areas, we have commuter buildings where federal employees that have high level security clearance can work in. They're using those facilities and the ability to do online business. We see that our employment has been a little insulated from this, but not everybody. However, it's still 91.6% that are working. And with that, and with the interest rates being under 3% and right at 3% for a mortgage, those that are working are still out there and they're looking to buy a home. So in the real estate market, what does that mean? The majority of people are still employed. They are still looking to buy. Jobs are coming back. People are going back to work, albeit it's a new way of doing business. We're not quite sure how that's going to look completely, but I think we're seeing not necessarily, I would say, a new normal, but an increase in the amount of working on computer and working from home. We're seeing that happen. People are asking us, I need a house that's got a good office environment. I've got to have internet. So we're seeing a lot more of those types of requirements in buyers that are coming out. And by the way, are people leaving the cities? We are starting to have a few come out and say, yeah, I'm heading out. I want a suburban house. I want a townhouse. I want a single family that's got a little bit of space. I had one couple that they were having to, the only spot they had was like a 10 by 10 area out in front of their apartment complex. They said, we're not going to do that again. But the real estate market does continue. It's smaller, but it's just as vibrant. And that's the big thing to remember when you're going out there to buy or when you're looking to sell. Definition of success is the same. You show up, you work hard, you repeat, whether you're doing real estate or what else. I keep telling my agents and people I'm coaching that, look, we got to just show up. We got to keep working hard on this. You got to repeat what you've been doing. And for those looking to buy a house, you may be getting outbid. You get it back on the saddle. You go out there and you still try to buy a house. People still want to move, folks. Sellers still want to sell, and buyers are still looking for a great house to buy. So I'm Anthony Carr, Anthony Carr Associates, powered by RE/MAX. That's the report of August 2020 on the COVID market effect in Northern Virginia. Glad you joined me today. If you like this, Like it, share it, and subscribe. We're building the channel, trying to get up to a few hundred videos here about real estate. But thanks for checking in, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.